when I put that Black Sabbath album on, when I heard the first song, Black Sabbath, I turned that motherfucker off. I was like, this ain't for Uncle Joey. What is this that stands before me? Figure in black pointing at me? This is not going to work in my world. And I think I moved on to The Wizard, because The Wizard was kind of a popular song, and everybody in your neighborhood wanted to be a fucking wizard, you know. So The Wizard was it, and I guess that was I liked the album. And then I said, fuck it, let me put on Black Sabbath. And then I was like, okay. And that was by the summer. I had rented a house down the shore with two of my buddies and three girls from high school. We weren't dating them. They were next door to us, and we rented this house, and I bought that fucking Black Sabbath on 8-track. And I still remember the fucking player I had. It's the first 8-track player I had that I put Pink Floyd Dark Side of the Moon, which was the first album I ever tripped on. But that's a complete different fucking story, all right? When I came back from down the shore, I was all in on Black Sabbath, the first album, and I was all in on Paranoid. So I said, what's my next logical move? I don't know. I didn't even, there was no internet. It was Nike. You couldn't Wikipedia what the name of their albums were in alphabetical order or whatever, how they came out. And I didn't feel like fucking asking people, because people in my town would go, what the fuck are you talking about? Don't you have all their albums? What are you, a pussy? What are you listening to, fucking ABBA? And I'm like, okay. So I had to figure it out on my own, and I didn't know who to ask. And one day I went to that same fucking album place, and I bought fucking Sabotage. And I brought that motherfucker home. And it just opened me the fuck up. Ozzy was tremendous. The lyrics were great. They have an acoustic part on fucking Symptom of the Universe. And it's just a great album. Megalomania, the thrill of it all, the writ is fucking scary as fuck. Am I going insane? And I was all in, motherfuckers. I was like, wow, this is fucking deep. And then I went back and I bought Never Say Die. Again, I went out of order again. And I bought the last album, and when I fucking listened to Never Say Die, I was all in. Like, that's my new slogan, Never Say Die. I was fucking 14, 15. I was very, I was looking. I didn't have a father figure, so I was looking, you know what I'm saying? I'm not saying Ozzy was my father figure, but I'm just saying that this album just blew me the fuck apart. And then something happened. I got into Never Say Die. Junior's Eyes, Johnny Blade, fucking, that album has a lot of good songs on it. But at the same time, I was putting on different things every fucking day. And then the next album I bought was the one that put me over the fucking top, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. That song just took me from point A to fucking point B. Something about Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath, it was describing what I was going through at the time. I don't know. It was all going on inside of me. I didn't want to live at home. Who the fuck knows? But I don't know. It got to me, this album. And then my mother died. And when my mother died, the albums I had that I was listening to all the time was the last Led Zeppelin album and the Cars Candy O. That was the rotation I had at that time. And Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. And then when my mother died, when I went home, I didn't want to put that fucking devil music on. I was like, I'm going to stay away from this devil music on. I moved in with the Benders, and about 2 months later, I started listening to Sabbath again. And I was fucked up by then. So now it just gripped me, guys. It gripped me in a way that it was all I was living for. It was Black Sabbath was basically keeping me the fuck alive, as stupid as this fucking sounds. As stupid as this sounds. And one day, I was walking with Louis Castellito, a couple of us. It was cold out. It was about the end of January, and I walked into a magazine place, and Cream magazine was there. Cream was like, Rolling Stone's answer to heavy metal. And the fucking next thing you know, I open up the thing, and it's official. Black Sabbath broke up. And I'm like, fuck. I really wanted them to see him again, because I had seen him, but I wasn't prepared. And I really liked them. I really liked what they were doing. And they broke up. And guys, I was like heartbroken, like a fucking child. Like a fucking child. I was really fucking heartbroken. And I went that year before my birthday, I went up to this bar on 22nd and New York Avenue. It used to be across from the county morgue there. It's a funeral parlor. That's where they take you when you died, and they disperse you to either Veneris or McCagna or whatever. There used to be a bar there. We used to get THC crystal in that motherfucker, a.k.a. Angel Dust. On Tuesday nights, they had an Angel Dust happy hour. I will never fucking forget that. And I went down there with a bunch of savages, and we bought like two tens of Angel Dust, which we call crystal. And I'll never forget, I did 2 lines. I wasn't even living at home. I was living with the Benders, and they weren't home. And I remember going in, putting Master Reality on. That's the name of the album, the 3rd album. Putting it on, and for some reason I was going through the channels, and The Exorcist was on. Meanwhile, I'm tripping on fucking Angel Dust, and I'm looking at fucking The Exorcist, and I'm hearing Black Sabbath in the back. Have you ever thought about your soul? Can it be saved? And, you know, the Pope dead on a rope and all this shit. And I'm like, fuck this album. The only thing I liked off of 3 was Sweet Leaf. I was like, I ain't listening to this fucking devil music. And I like Tomorrow's Dream, I think is on 3. But no, Tomorrow's Dream is on volume 4. I said, fuck this shit. I ain't putting this shit back on. This is too dark for me. I'll keep it going with Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. At the time, I was going through a war with my father. Now, with my stepfather. So now, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath was my anthem every fucking morning. I was going to kill this motherfucker. I didn't know how. I was trying to rob him. I was trying to do everything I can to knock him off his game. But I was fucking wounded. I was walking fucking wounded. And, you know, that's, guys, I don't know, I'm mentally weak at that time. I was regressing, you know, after when you're a young child and you see some type of trauma, you know, you regress or stay at that age until you come to terms with that trauma. So I fucking, you know, and I learned this now, and now it makes it a lot easier for me to understand what was going on when I was 15 and my mother died 16. And I tell you guys, fucking Ozzy, I don't know what the fuck to say, you know, but I'm listening to Aerosmith, I'm listening to all this shit. Plus, Pink Floyd The Wall had taken over. When Pink Floyd The Wall came out on November 28th of 1979, that shit came out like a bullet, and it cemented himself. You couldn't, I remember going to Paramus Mall and listening to Pink Floyd The Wall in every store. Please, teacher, leave those kids alone. And it was on the radio, which was never done before with Pink Floyd except for Money and that one fucking jam.